Greetings, this is Ron Smalek, and I am reading The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. It is an excellent book. I'm reading it after having watched the movie, and I wanted to record some of my thoughts chapter by chapter. All right, so chapters 19 through 27 make up part 3, which is called The Victor of the Hunger Games. If you remember, chapter 18 ended with the announcement that there can now be 2 winners from the same district. And chapter 19 starts off with Katniss sort of being shocked by this. There's never been such a thing before in the history of the games. She realizes that even if she were to kill Peeta at this point, that getting back, or if either one of them would kill each other, getting back to their district, they would basically be outcast, and that would not go over too well. So they really have no choice but to work together. Also, right after this part, in the movie, the game master, I don't remember his name, but he goes and talks to the guy who I think is the president or the dictator. I'm not actually sure. And they discuss whether or not, he should be showing favoritism to Katniss, etc. The game master's boss, we'll just put it that way, is very much against it. And that is not in the book at all. This actually made me realize, of course it wouldn't be in the book because this is all first person from Katniss's perspective. There's an awesome sequence here where Katniss is figuring out where each one of the other tributes might be, and so she believes that Thresh is in this plains area, based on the way that Foxface reacted to a noise when she was near the wreckage of the explosion. I thought that was great. And then she starts trying to decide where Peeta might be and realizes that if he has survived this long, he is most likely somewhere where there is a source of water. She eventually finds a blood trail and then the camouflage Peeta, which I'll give him the benefit of the doubt that he knows how to do camouflage because he decorated a lot of cakes, but how would he get all that stuff onto his face and then be able to hide his arms? It just seems like it would be pretty tough, but that is both in the book and in the movie. And she takes him, washes him up by the shore. There's quite a long sequence where they're interacting. And at the point where she sees his wound, she realizes, or she remembers, that she is not a healer. She doesn't like the sight of wounds, and her mother or her younger sister Prim would have been excellent in this particular situation because they are not at all scared by the sight of blood. Then they do find the cave when he's able to help, drag himself along a little bit, and he starts pestering her about trying to get a kiss. She kind of laughs it off. She's still very uncomfortable, not knowing what to do about it, and then he keeps talking. He keeps trying to talk to her, and she basically wants him to be quiet. So she gives her first kiss to Peeta because she wants him to shut up, and she feels that he has a fever. At this point, this is where she gets the first soup, and she realizes that, I only got soup, I didn't get medicine because I only gave him one kiss. So I'm going to need to act and do something more to get something more than soup. Chapter 20 begins, and we find out Clove's name. I thought this was referenced earlier, but this is the first part where we really see that the tributes don't know each other's names until they talk in the games itself. Katniss sees that Peeta does have blood poisoning, so it's even worse than she thought. This is where she does make the stone soup, and I thought that was well described in the book. I don't really remember it being a big deal in the movie, but that's fine. Here she goes into a pretty long story about how she got a goat named Lady for her sister Prim. And it was interesting because she kind of says that there's 2 stories. There's the story of what really happened, and then there's the story that she tells Peeta out loud because she knows the camera is trained on her. And I felt this was interesting because this is where Katniss seems to be talking directly to us, the reader, or the audience at this point, when she tells us the real story and then she says out loud the fake story, which is interesting because I don't think she's done that yet in the book, and it almost felt a little bit like breaking the fourth wall. I'm wondering if she's writing this in her journal. This again reminded me that this is all in the first person. Now she does hear the trumpet blast, which signals the fact that there is a feast. She was kind of looking for that earlier. And at this point, a parachute comes down with medicine in it. And I don't remember this one from the movie, so this may be something they chose to leave out. She takes it. It's a very small, very suspicious little medicine. She smells it. She realizes that it's basically a sleeping potion, probably some kind of heavy narcotic. Mixes it with berries and gives it to Peeta to knock him out because they were arguing about the fact that she wanted to go to the feast to get him medicine, and he doesn't want her to go and risk herself. So she basically tricks him into doing it, and at the last moment he realizes it, and she has to aggressively hold his mouth and nose closed, which you can imagine that's sort of like a deep betrayal. Now she's almost physically assaulting him against his will to drug him, and he knows it. So I thought that was interesting. That is the end of chapter 20, and we are well into the third act of The Hunger Games.